everyone. Welcome to Pieware Night School. That's our third episode. Um, Tonight we're going to be doing the clone tool, the clone wedge that's new to version 10.0.3, and new stagger options. They're also going to be in 10.0.3. Hope everyone's having a wonderful night. Let's sit here for a second or so and get a couple of people uh, signed in with us here, and then we can take off. We're going to be doing the grid designer next week. So if you have any specifics that you'd like to have covered on the grid designer, please message us, let us know. I'm going to go over creating different size grids and how to do that easily. Hope you all have been enjoying the night school. It's been quite fun to do for us. We've got Amanda here. She's going to be answering the questions for us and in the chat. So if you have anything, just type it in there and she can get that answered for you and we can display anything that you want to see. Okay, well, let's take off. Let's start with the clone function. The clone function has been around for many versions. It is available in all drawing tools. We expanded upon it in version 9, giving you a couple of different options of cloning. The original was a radial clone. I'm going to just create a shape here. I'm going to create the master shape that I want to have cloned, and then I'm going to enter the number of clones I want to have. So let's say I want to have 5 total, so I'm going to clone it 4 times, and it's going to then clone that shape around the center point here. And you can actually move the cloned point to any location, and that gives you the ability to kind of create a different type of shape. Just say we wanted to make a flower using our arc tool here. So each arc is going to have 13 positions in it. Anything that you modify in this position is going to reflect on any of the arcs that you've created. So if I want 10 in each arc, we can spin that out to a pinwheel type thing. Okay, so this is the radial arc. This is what has been in the program since version 1. The additional buttons here are the linear clone and the concentric clone. The concentric clone is only available for the arc tool and the circle tool. So if I wanted to do concentric, what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to create concentric arcs or concentric circles here. Let's see here. And the clone point is actually the center point of that concentric radius. Take a look here. And it pulls them in. Let's get everything moved over. Say we go 45 to 45. So we have concentric arcs here. Get it to a position that we want to work with. You can also do that with the circle tool. Let's go ahead and try that right quick. Let's say we wanted to clone that 3 additional times. So I've got the outside circle has 69 performers, so this is going to have a total of 175 with everything added together. And as I said before, you can adjust the number of performers, and it's going to reduce each number of performers in each inside circle, concentric circle there. I can move the entire circle using the center point, or you can also move your concentric location. So you can create kind of neat type telescopic effects. All right. And the linear clone basically allows you to create a block out of almost any form. So let's say I've got a curve here. I'm going to do a linear clone. I'll clone it 4 times, so I have 5 total. I'm going to do my linear clone. So now I have a block form of curves, and you can adjust it down. So this gives you the ability to create block type formations really easily with different type of shapes. In version 10.03, we've expanded upon that and given you an option, what we call the clone wedge removal. So basically, this text box here is going to indicate the number of performers you want to remove per line. So let's say I want to remove 2 performers each line below. It's going to pull those off. So now you're going to start getting a wedge type effect. So I want to do 4 in each line. So now I have created a flag type form by stripping performers off of each subsequent line. And this clone wedge type thing is going to be available for any tool that has the linear clone. So let's take a look here. Let's just pull a line out. 10 performers. I'm going to clone it 9 times. Do our linear clone. I can pull it down. So I've got a block here. Pull one off of each. And then I can actually come in here and adjust my clone point to make any type of wedge with those number of performers. If I wanted to do 2, say 20 performers, maybe 19 performers. There you go. So I've got 19 performers, so I have 2 performers being pulled off each row. So the clone wedge function allows you to create wedges very easily. And this can be leveraged with the sketch function that we showed last week. So you can create these wedges and save them in, or create the forms, save them into sketches to be used in other drills as well. So let's take a look here. Let's use our clone function. We're going to create a couple of set of pods here with 6 performers each. Let's clone those 6 times. I'm going to do a linear clone here. So I've got some pods. Let's pull these down. Linear clone. All right, so I've got my pods here. All right. So let's take a look at some of the new Stagger functions. I'm going to add a page tab and create some transition here. Let's say 48 counts just for example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my transition, and then what I want is I want each of these pods to leave at different times. So let's go ahead and create a pathway here, and I want to do kind of a curved pathway. So I'm going to use my track tool. I'm going to create a curved path here. Okay, so I've got my animation created here. I've got my curved pathway. So that's what we look like here. So let's now get that to stagger so we have one group at a time. so I'm going to select have my performer selected. I'm going to select my stagger tool. Now, stagger tool was added in version 9. Some of these new features I'm going to be showing are being added in version 10.0.3. We now have an option to group, step off by group. So we select this option, and every performer that we have is part of a group. So as you see here, I've got 7 individual groups here. We've got lines connecting each of these here. Select my group by segment. I'm going to have them step off every 2 counts. I'm going to have them take 20 counts, let's say 24 counts to get that entire distance. All right, so I can test animate here. And now it's going to grab one at a time, sequencing. So the group by segment option allows you to create pod type staggers much easier, whereas previously you'd have to group them in a group across the forms. This is much more intuitive for managing your pod maneuvers. All right. Let's take a look here at another function. Let's delete these performers and set up for another stagger function. Let's say I've got a line of performers here. So we've got 40 performers. I'm going to break those up into groups of 4. So now I have my groups of 4. I'm going to create my transition for them as well. Let's see, let's do the same type maneuver here. Okay. Now, another option here is we are able to now select a leader per segment. So previously you only had an option to mirror stagger for each of these. So let's say I wanted to have the first performer of each form step off. You'd select your mirror option, you'd select the performer that you want to lead, and then it would grab the same performer out of each one of the groups subsequently. Now we have a leader per segment option, so I can actually choose different leaders for each segment. So let's say I wanted to have different leaders. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. To just give kind of a stair step effect. Okay, so I've got these staggering off. Let's have every 2 counts. I'm going to have a duration of 24 counts. So now I've got a dissolving effect with different leaders and not the same leaders across the board. Whereas previously, this is what you were looking at. The same leader is selected by default. This is the default that you had before. Just 2-step step off, 24 counts. And this is what the default effect was when you mirrored. Now let's say I had this same thing, however, I didn't have it grouped in groups of 4. I just had a single line of performers. So let's go ahead and group these back here. We also have the option to stagger by group size. So let's say I wanted to peel off multiples at a time. So let's say I want to have every 4 pull off every 2 counts. I have the duration set for 24 for this particular example. Okay, so I'm going to have it start at this end. So it's what this is going to do is it's going to grab 4 performers and then have them step off and continue grabbing 4 at a time. So 4, 4, 4. This function allows you to easily peel off segments without having to regroup for singular forms. So that's makes things a lot easier. We have one other function that we've added in the Stagger function. Let's set this one up here. Let's set up our function here. I'm going to go ahead and clone this linearly to create a sequence of these. And what I'm going to do is, since these points are overlapping, I'm going to actually choose to omit my overlaps. Okay. So now I've got this form created. I'm going to group it together in one form. And let's say I want to pull this up into one line, but I'm going to have it stagger. So using my morph tool to strip it down, I'm going to have them march up just a little bit of distance here. And then I'm going to choose my stagger. What I want it to do is I want it to grab the performers that are taking the largest stride first. So I'm going to choose the leader by distance, and what that's going to do is it's going to take a look at the form that they're coming from and the form that they're going to. It's going to calculate the distance, and it's going to grab subsequent performers in that order by distance. So I've got this selected. I'm going to have them march 20 counts, step off once every count. All right, now I'm going to play that. As you can see now, it's grabbing the pinnacles and it's peeling them off. All right, I needed a few more counts to do what I needed. Let's just take a look here, finish that up. Creates a nice dissolving effect as well. All right. And those are the clone, wedge, and stagger functions. Are there any questions on what we've taken a look at today? We're real excited about these new functions here. All right, well, there's no questions. That'll be it for tonight's night school. Next week, we're going to be doing the grid designer. I'm going to walk through how to create a couple of different size indoor grids, as well as adjusting a high school grid as well as a NCAA grid. So we will see y'all next week. If you have any questions between now and then, please reach out to us, Facebook, or message us, email, anything, we're there. Y'all have a wonderful evening.